Hello everyone, Ash here. Quick update. I realize I don't communicate with you like ever, so I just wanted to give you a quick update. I'm working on a main channel video and I've been taking this time to set a lot of things up for the main channel, a lot of exciting projects and things coming soon. But in the meantime, I've been recording a weekly podcast with my friends Red, Kyle, and Zam called Quag, and it's been so fun where we just, oh hello Camel, and it's been really fun. We just literally just goof around, but we get more serious in the Patreon only section of the podcast. And we had a really interesting discussion about AI last episode, and I thought it would just be fun to share it over here. Basically, it just starts off with us goofing around, but we eventually talk about AI, and we have a little bit of a debate, a back and forth with me and my friend Redunes, and I think it'll be really informative and funny as well, a little bit. Not that funny, but I did think it was an important thing to say. So let me know what you think, whether you agree or disagree. I just think it would be a fun topic, a point of conversation, because I think it is an important one to be had. Check the Quack podcast down in the description. I'm sure you guys will enjoy it. It's more of our personality instead of trying to sell you on a title and thumbnail, really. But I think you guys will really enjoy it. There's an extra hour of episodes if you really enjoy it on the Patreon, where we talk about more legitimate topics. But enjoy. Oh. Let's go back to talking about AI now. All right, so Grok versus ChatGPT, who's winning in a fist fight?
Dude, honestly, I feel like the newest model of Grok is like Supreme Overlord Elon in human form.
No. Okay,
we need to start praying to it immediately.
Hold on. I do have a slightly hot take I will bring up about all this, though, with AI. So I watched this Neil deGrasse Tyson podcast with this other guy, right?
Okay.
And one thing I don't know, someone else's podcast. It's some comedian guy. Hold on.
Is his name Theo Vaughn? Dear God,
Theo
no.
Vaughn. It's gonna be Theo
Vaughn. No. Hold on.
Is he like Southern?
No. I'm pretty sure he's Middle Eastern. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Bassem Youssef.
It's hold on. AI
Is it Bassem Youssef?
Welcome to the Google podcast with Redunes.
Who's this guy?
Hassan. Hold on, this guy.
Oh, Mehdi. Oh, Hassan Minaj.
Oh, my friend
Yeah.
Hassan.
Oh.
Yeah.
This
And
guy's friend.
okay, so the thing that he brings up is how everyone's like getting super super distasteful for AI now about it being like very problematic when it was problematic like years ago, but nobody batted an eye back then. It's only now that like it finally reached like creativity that it was like super duper problematic when it's kind of been problematic taking away jobs and stuff for a while now.
Really? How long?
Like at least for the past like 5 years.
Oh.
Yeah, but when you go into the nuance of it, if we want to get real intellectual in the Patreon section of the Quack Fridays podcast, it's only because people are now concerned about the infringement of intellectual and artistic property, not necessarily the concept of generative AI or even logical AI for that reason, but the fact that people are misusing it. Like, for example, when the keyboard came out in the early whenever in the 60s, everyone thought typewriters would be out of a job. No, they went and found better jobs in the new industry. The issue was when keyboarders were using malicious tactics to get people out of a job, right? So when we talk about generative AI, no one really cares about logical generative AI. The main concern is corporations misusing it, deploying it too early, stealing people's property, or whatever it may be, to commit malicious acts using it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like intellectual property is not just creative, you know. If someone like, for instance, if Kyle, I don't know how much Kyle, do you code? Like, do you actually code?
No, I haven't written code in a long time.
Okay, never mind. Maybe this doesn't like apply to you though. But like, oh no, Ash, this is like literally your entire like education, right?
Yeah, like, it's still wrong if someone steals it, and whether it's art or intellectual property.
But even on top of that, the fact that like, you know, you're less likely to get a job now than you were 5 years ago due to this new thing. But it seems people are more fixated. I mean, understandably, like AI, you know, ripping creative work is bad, like awful. But they're also forgetting about the other half of it, like with like incidents like that. Which I feel like
that's
why
the
not
whole
be bad
concept.
at the entire picture instead of just?
Well, I think
I don't
some
think
people.
I
feel like most people are mad about the entire picture.
Everyone
now,
is mad
like
at
the
the
environment.
I don't think any artists have seen
complain about the creative elements of it.
Well, I think they're both
I
bad.
don't
It's
know.
just unfortunately the environmental stuff is less talked about.
Yeah, the environmental aspect of it is really important.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't even know that AI. Like, if you go up to any random person in real life, like they are probably not going to know that AI has any effect on the environment, and that's just like the unfortunate truth, really.
Yeah,
that's
at the
true.
end of the day, if we're going to talk about like I don't want to like go into debate mode, but I don't think the fact that it's always been problematic should take away from like the genuine concerns people are bringing up now.
Yeah,
but,
because another major difference as well is that like with of course with the release of ChatGPT, like it has like blown up into like the stratosphere. Before, I feel like it wasn't talked about nearly as much, you know. So it's like obviously people aren't going to have too much issue with it when it's not even something that like because now it's like complaining about Google before anyone knew what Google is, you know? Like
exactly.
You can't complain about something if you don't know what it is, you know? Because if you go to any person in the street, you know, you can ask them about AI and they'll like say something about it, like I have ChatGPT installed on my phone or some shit, you know? Like but that just wasn't the case before. So it's like obviously people aren't going to talk about it as much if it's not a widespread issue.
The analogy I want to make right now, the people will probably more understand is when the internet first came out, right? We know that there are horrible sides of the internet, but what the internet is now is well maintained, indexed, and regulated, right? So this would be like people arguing that the dark web should be included in Google. You know what I mean? Which obviously is not the case now, right? We're way more secure, way more regulated. So in the same way, people are saying, hey, we shouldn't allow AI to make deepfakes of women or AI to steal art. Like it should be controlled in some way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess that's what the conversation people are having now. But I do agree. There's a lot of outrage that's rooted in a lack of knowledge. That obviously the screaming should stop.
Yeah.
But I do think a lot of people are making very valid claims. I'm
not discrediting those. I think the claims are very valid. I just meant more that I feel like the claims are kind of a lot of the times not like I feel like a lot of people are understanding and understand everything, but I feel like a lot of people also kind of complain about half the story when there is also another entirely problematic half to it that is not as vocalized.
No,
that was more my thing that I was like.
No, you're right. There is. I do think all in all there should be less shouting and people should know everything, or like try to make themselves aware of everything before screaming. Whatever it may be, screaming for AI or against it. Yeah. So I think that's true for like a lot of issues with the world today. People just don't know.
Yeah, the thing about AI too is like it's the Wild West still. Like I think that's what you were getting at with your point about the internet comparison. But I work with people who use AI every single day, and it's like it's integrated in like what we do, and especially in corporate America. Like it's basically like use AI or get left behind, and essentially lose your job. And it's becoming like to the point now where like if we're not using AI, it's a problematic flaw and a logistical issue. Where like, for example, my company is saying like we should be using AI to do like these like monotonous tasks that would take humans a couple hours, where AI can do it in like 3 seconds. And that okay, controversial take, but I think that's exactly what AI should be used for. Not like this generative AI bullshit where you're talking to it like your little pen pal. That's the shit that's killing the world. The other aspect of it is just like it's a technological advancement, and a Marvel one at that, that's been around for a while and should be used for these insanely large tasks that would take humans hundreds of thousands of hours, and reduces that time down to minutes at a time. Like that's what AI should be used for. And
that was another thing brought up in that podcast. Actually, was like how the amount of computational knowledge necessary for like studying something like for instance like the cure for cancer, right? There's so many trials and experimentation that need to go into it, that a single human mind trying to keep track of it all is kind of
no one's
inferior.
No one's arguing for the abolishment of AI, bro. The amount it's used for like accessibility, for bioinformatics, for learning genetic structures, it's incredible.
It's incredible.
But that's the thing. No one wanted laptops to stop being existed so that typewriters could have jobs. No one wanted cars to not be invented so chariot riders could have a chance at riding horses.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure that the dark web is kept away from regular people, right? We want to make sure that the roads are properly built, that people have tires, that we don't just kill every horse just because we have one or two cars. You know what I mean?
There has to be infrastructure behind it and regulations behind it. Exactly. Which I think the good thing is like 100%. People are realizing like that negative effect of AI, and people are starting to begin to realize like, oh crap, we got to start regulating this. But it's unfortunate because AI is accelerating to the point where they're moving too quickly, and all these negative side effects can be like attained super quickly, but the regulation takes an insane amount of time, let alone like the security of it all too. Like a really, really common tactic being used right now is something called like LLM poisoning, or like pool poisoning, where basically like they'll make these huge bot farms. Think of like a DDoS attack where you're taking down a network, but instead it's literally spreading misinformation. Where like
what the hell?
Yeah, because people use it like Google. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And they'll be able to manipulate how an LLM thinks.
I just realized it's like Cal's entire job.
Yeah,
to like hyperfixate on this. He's like having a heyday. Like right now, dude.
It's so true because like I have to think about like my corporate customers. I have to think about like my actual consumer customers as well. So
yeah,
like having these regulations about AI are like super essential for my job to make sure that like all of my customers are safe at the end of the day. Because God forbid, like somebody like poisons an LLM pool. Let's say like Gemini's pool gets like infected by someone trying to spread misinformation or be able to pull misinformation into that. Like it can be super impactful on how information is distributed and like how the logic of an AI is actually used. To the point, like it's like the actual algorithm behind it all. If enough entries are put into it, like we'll start putting out the wrong thing and start like doing the wrong job as well.
Exactly.
It's
that's the thing. It's in its infancy so much. I don't know if you saw the okay, we're getting real intellectual in the Patreon segment of the Quack Fridays podcast.
Hey man,
but I don't know if you saw
that makes it a vibe though.
Yeah.
I don't know if you all saw the recent Apple paper where it just argued that like logical AI doesn't exist. It's just a glorified search engine from training data. So it doesn't have the so a lot of people misunderstanding it, that thinking that it, overestimating its capabilities. All of these problems exist whenever revolutionary technology of any kind enters humanity. But the thing that prevents it from spiraling into disaster is proper. If you use the words like regulation, control, monitoring, people get scared. That's why there's so much. That's where the whole issue exists, right? Everyone's like, all right, no, it needs to progress as much as possible. We need XAI to have so many more factories, and no matter how many fucking black people in Memphis get lung poisoning, it doesn't matter.
Damn.
Like, you know what I mean? So it needs to, I think it needs a rhyme or reason to it. And I think the conversation shouldn't be, all right, hey man, it's going to steal everything, not just artwork. But the conversation should be, all right, now how do we stop it from stealing anything now? How do we make it, streamlined?
Yeah.
So yeah. This has been a fantastic discussion. Let's talk about poop jokes and getting hard.